Alright, ladies and gentlemen, do want to welcome everybody to our latest attempt at episode 1 of Star Trek New Horizons, where I'm going to be playing a Star Trek real-time strategy mod on the base game of Stellaris. I'm going to give everybody here just a minute or two to get into the stream for everybody who wants to watch live, and then it'll be posted on youtube.com on my channel. That's Spider8604 for anybody who wants to catch it at a later date. So we're just going to give everybody a minute here, and then we're going to go ahead and get going. During that, I'm going to go ahead and get the game set up. We'll be starting a new game. We'll be playing the United Earth, because this game starts right after Zephyrin Cochrane makes contact with the Vulcans, so it's not the Federation or Starfleet, it's just the United Earth. And barely united, they almost nuked themselves into oblivion less than a decade before the beginning of this game. The game starts paused, so I won't actually be doing anything at the beginning while I just wait here for a little bit and see if anybody else is coming in. If you do drop into the stream, if you would, just say hi there in the chat bar, just so I know you're here. I'll be sure to say hello back at you. Looks like the Enterprise D fighting one of those Borg cubes. Hate those things. Just got... Alright, welcome back everyone. I think that we might have a secure connection here. Shouldn't be continuing with any of the frame drop issues. We'll see how that continues along here. And if anybody does drop in, if you just want to say hello there in the chat. Otherwise, if you want to just throw a like if you're watching it at a later time, and any suggestions you might have, we're going to go ahead and get this show on the road. Alright, and right here we have just a basic explanation of United Earth. That's our government, its current ruler, species, the capital planet, Earth, obviously. So let's go ahead and get it going. Now, as I said, this starts right at the beginning of where Earth really goes from being just Earth by itself to the Federation. So right now it's just Earth in the Sol system. We've got Starbase 001 here, which some of you may recognize from some different Star Trek movies or TV shows. This is the one sitting just above planet Earth, next to the moon. There's Earth. Got Luna right here, Mercury, Sol, our sun. We've got a couple of just terrible little ships. They're not even as good as the NX-01, and that's sad. But these are patrol frigates. They'll do their job for the time being, but then we'll try and get something a little bit more competent going on here as quickly as possible. Well, some of the first things that we're going to want to do is get our research going. Hardened force fields is the precursor to shields, so we are going to go ahead and start there. For society, let's see, let's go ahead and unlock the police station, and then our engineering. We'll go with the spatial torpedo, just so that if somebody does pick a fight with us, we can go ahead and react at least a little bit. What I'm going in here is what I did here. This is the additional menu. It's where all of your controls are, and we'll go over them later more in depth on each one when we come up to that bit. But I'm going to the ship designer because the game automatically designs these ships individually, and the base game goes with power being the most important factor, and that's not true in this Star Trek mod. So what we're doing is I'm going in here and I'm putting an actual scientific component in this ship, and it'll give us a little bit better tracking and some armor points. So I'm doing that there. I'm unchecking the auto generate, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit auto upgrade, so if any of these components come in, we can upgrade there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and overwrite the previous version, so brought that up, and now this is called it's an additional torpedo bay. It's 2 and 2. It's the balanced version. You can go up here and go the normal frigate. That's 3 phaser banks and 1 torpedo, but I prefer the 2 and 2, so that's the one that I'm going to keep. Construction ship is pretty basic all the way around, so we'll go ahead and leave that the way it is. The science ship we are going to do a little bit of messing with, because the additional labs is what we want here. That can stay the same. Go ahead and auto upgrade and fix that. And then same here. This is a phaser array, basically defensive platform, and these EPS conduits just give us a little bit more damage there, so that's why I went with that. I'll go ahead and auto upgrade on that, save this as well, and that just gets those that whenever we build these, they actually are the most efficient versions thereof. Now we have the little arrow here on our fleet, second fleet, which doesn't make any sense because there's only one. Still don't understand why it does that, but we'll go with a alpha fleet. Upgrade that there, and then when you hit this button, it'll send them here to get into orbit above the space station, and then they'll take their turns going through refit and getting to be a little bit more competent in there. The game is still paused. We haven't had anything start yet. Right now I'm just getting set up to actually get the timeline going. So I'm going to select the Franklin, which some of you may recognize from Star Trek Not Into Darkness Beyond, the Kelvin timeline movie. And what we have here is the Vulcans. The Andorians are usually up around here. They're on the northeastern part of the Alpha Quadrant, which is this right here is the Alpha Quadrant. This is the Beta Quadrant. Gamma's up here, Delta's up here, and Death Incarnate's right there, usually. But these are the Vulcans, which I'll talk to them in a moment. I just want to get this going. But what I'm going to do here is with this science ship, the Franklin, because I've got a captain and a scientist in here, I'm going to send them to survey this system right here, which will get us just a little bit closer to the Vulcans, which will be beneficial for us. It helps us make friends with them, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. I'm going to offer a migration treaty just so we can go back and forth and be friends. And then I'm going to go ahead and unpause the game. We'll let all of that get going, just so I could get that migration treaty done. And then let's see, non-aggression pact. Pretty much just going to promise to be friends. Now, got the construction ship that's still not doing anything. You can tell because it's got that little in-orbit icon. That means it's just floating around doing nothing. And what we'd rather have it do is come out here to this moon. You select it again. We'll come out here to this moon and build a mining station around it. And then once you've selected that first path and order, if you hold the shift button and right click, you can set a second. So it'll build that and then it'll build that. And that'll keep it busy, because with that I'm out of minerals. But I'll be getting an additional 2 minerals a month once both of those are constructed, so it won't take too long. We'll take a look at Earth here, which I selected here. You have 2 ways of doing that. You can either click on it here or click right here, which will take you to your capital every time. So I hit 1 and it brings it up. I have no governor assigned. I'll hit change and I'm going to go ahead and sign Winona Austin. That's generated different every time. You can change their name if you want to. The first person that I get to comment in chat, I will go ahead and give the option. You can either be the Admiral of Alpha Fleet, you can be the President of Earth. First person to put in any thing into chat is going to go ahead and get to pick the name of them. You can name it after yourself or anyone else. I don't care either way, as long as it's nothing obscene. My children may watch this at some point. Earth, and the reason that it's got this little house icon is when we go to the surface here, you can see all the people on Earth. This whole system is about to change. The developers have been putting out information that they're going to be putting an update out that's going to change the entire way that the planets work, which I'm very much looking forward to, and I'll do a series on that update when it comes around. But the point that I'm going at right now is this little house means that this person right here does not have a building to work in. That's what that means. If we go here and we select this, I don't have enough money to build anything, but I'd build one of these, and then I would go ahead and fix that icon. But we'll do that in a minute after they build those mines. Oh, Luna had a +3 that I did not notice. So what we're going to go ahead and do is a slight adjustment. I'm going to start by stopping those, which gives me that back, and we're going to have you start by building the one above Luna, and then you'll kind of do this one. And that should be everything there. It's the contact with them. Yep, so we'll go ahead and let that go in the direction we wanted. So the fleet has finished its upgrades. Oh, the science ship. First, you need to upgrade, and then so there's Q. Alright, and that's Q coming in. What this is a tutorial that has been overlaid from the base game. I'm going to go ahead and run through it just so that everyone whom is watching the stream, and this is the first time they're seeing this game and may be interested in it, can get the general points. I'm not going to go with the easy mode option, I'll just go with we appreciate the offer Q. And I'm going against my better judgment because I really can't stand him, but we want to get what's best for everybody as far as introductory wise, so we'll go ahead and go that. Thank you, Q. He gave us a mineral, one whole mineral. Now we're just going to go ahead and continue along here. I lost my train of thought, forgot what I was doing there. The Vulcans agreed to the non-aggressive pact. I can probably get them to join me in a defensive pact now. Starbase has the little thing because I've got unbuilt modules, which I can build here and here when I have the monies, but I don't have the monies right now. I'll build this energy weapon array when I get the chance, and then under the defenses here I'll be able to build this light defense satellite when I get a bunch of monies, but, you know, one step at a time. The game is unpaused and traveling along. Everything's been upgraded, science ship's been upgraded, that's what I was doing. I got that fixed so that those differences that I made whenever I was over here are now affected on all of the ships. Still don't see anybody having said anything in the chat, so our admiral or our governor's name is still open for the first people who want it, or they can name one of the ships, because I've got here in Alpha Fleet, there's 3 different Emmett class frigates, the Curie, the Liberty, and Curie again. Alright, well, I'm going to change that now. And then any of those are also up for anybody. Once first pick's been got, anybody can change everything else as they like, and that's also true for any comments made on the YouTube video once it's been put up. Anybody comments on anything, I'll be happy to change some names around and things of that sort. Let's see if the Vulcans are being any little ways off for the defensive pact. Let's see if I can. I'm not this is let me back out a little bit. This is the overall diplomacy menu. This is all the different communications that you can do with alien species. All the way down here, I don't declare war because I'm friends with them, and we're pacifists, so we can only declare wars of liberation anyways. Looks like that light's a little bright. Maybe a little and hot. Like that. Bring it off a little bit. But what I was doing here is a trade deal. Now what I want from them is this right here, communications. That's everyone they've talked to, and I know at this point in time they've already made contact with the Andorians, which I do want to talk to you, and I don't want any of that. And what if I give you some energy? Be okay with that? Oh, see, proceeding with the NX project. It's automatically paused the game because we had a timeline event pop up here. And this is the NX project, which is essentially the beginnings of the Enterprise. What we have is the NX project. The United Earth's ambitious plan to create a Warp 5 vessel is still struggling. The original version of Zephyr Cochrane, which began in 2119 with the foundation of the new faster-than-light research complex in Bozeman, Montana, is now several decades old, and yet most of humanity's ships still crawl between the stars of Warp 2. Admiral Maxwell Forrest states with distaste that the Vulcan ambassador Sorvel earlier today he was elated with the news of the successful launch of the earliest prototype of the NX project. Now it seems his day was becoming worse. With all due respect, Ambassador, Earth has a fleet now. Our Warp 4 engine was recently installed on the USS Franklin, and the Admiral began before being cut off. It was less than a decade ago when your Commander Robinson almost lost his life because of this reckless pursuit, Admiral. We simply advise caution, so that contoned. We still feel the NX project should be suspended. Not forever, just for a few more years. I will pass your suggestion to Prime Minister Nathan Sanders, whom I basically am right now, and obviously we're just going to proceed because the Vulcans don't know what they're talking about. We've got it up to a total of +1, which means it's now a little bit beneficial to them, so hopefully they'll say yes, because I want their communications so that I can talk to the Andorians, which are... Yep, and they said yes, because now we can contact the Andorians. We have 3 options on how to greet them. And I think we'll go with getting learn much from each other. Oh, and they've met with the Tellarites. Tellarites are other Federation members. May not be as easily recognized as the Andorians, some nerds around here, but they're other Federation members. Yep, there's the Tellarites, and here's the Andorians. Andorians, buddies. Non-aggression pact. Let's see how much friends they want to be. Oops. They want to be... Guarantee independence basically just means if anyone's attacked, we'll automatically come to their aid. The only thing is right now... the trust of us will cost. They say it costs us a little bit of influence, and we need that influence right now. If we need to do one to make them better friends with us when it's time to start forming the Federation, we can. But right now, we're just going to stick with it as is. I'll go ahead and unpause the game. And they both agreed to the Pact of Non-Aggression. So now, with the Vulcans here, and the Andorians here, and the Tellarites here, we've agreed on 3 fronts that we're going to be friendly, basically. This is just them confirming that. Q is showing back up. He's talking about dilithium. Anyone who wants to read the affinities of it can go ahead and just pause it and read through that, but it basically says the more dilithium you have, the more ships you can have. Then go ahead and unpause, let this continue running. I'm going to speed up the game just a little bit. Well, no, I'm going to speed it up a bit to get it rolling so we can start to expand, because I need to get closer to the Vulcans and the Andorians to make them want to be better friends with me. Still about 10 away from the defensive pact. Got that first one built, see, and with just that, I'm going to slow us back down a little bit. Got both of those built, and we've obviously already got that all the way back up here. Andorians and the Vulcans don't like each other because they're children. Let's see here. Science ship scans the surface of Alpha Bay, and it seems quite clear that we have found something out of the ordinary. Its composition and history provides it with extra materials that we should take the opportunity to gather. We will surely come across even more irregularities like this as we survey new planets, and should not estimate their impact on our expansion. Intriguing. That we will, so when we come across here, it's talking about one of these planets right here. It's saying that we've got ones here, so after they're done surveying the whole system, I can build an outpost here that will expand it to within our space, and then I can build some mines. But we'll get to that point after a moment. Right now, as you can see, it shows here that the USS Pacific, our construction ship, isn't doing anything. So we're going to go ahead and send it out here to Triton and have it build another one of those mines. And then also out to Tatiana. I have no minerals left, but that'll get me with a decent intake every month. We'll let that continue that way, and then we'll go ahead and get this filled. Right now, there's still research coming in from this, just not as much as there could be, which is reflected right there. Yep, now they're both declared each other rivals, so they're just pouting as much as possible. Yep, they're just throwing fits back and forth. They're friendly with us, but they don't like each other. Which, if anyone has seen most of Enterprise with the NX-01, there's a whole story between them and being pouty at each other. And the Tellarites just kind of sit over here and mind their own business. Defensive fact, we're too far away. See, the bottom one down there is distance. Let's see, the Franklin has a drifting ship sitting on a distress beacon. Go ahead and research it, see if they're alright. Send the Franklin to investigate. And then keep looking around the Sirius system. Alpha Centauri should be somewhere up here. We'll see what's going on there in a little bit after we get some research done. When I get a little bit more resources, I'll build another science ship and send it out exploring in another direction. But right now we're starting slow because it's just little tiny Earth, and we haven't even formed the Federation with, because it'll be the Andorians, the Vulcans, the Tellarites, let's see, the Beltans, which I think are in like due north or due northwest, up here somewhere of the Alpha Quadrant. Who else? The Domulans up around here, I think. They'll all be around here. They'll end up being a pretty good arc, about like this. That's going to be the original of the founders of the Federation. And then from there I'll start seeing if I can't make friends with some other people. Sometimes I can get the Klingons to start being a little bit more friendly earlier. We'll see, they're around over here. Cardassians, probably not, because I don't try to very much. They're just dill holes and I don't like them. And then the Romulans are going to be up here, and they're probably going to be a problem. They usually are. They have destructive technology like the Klingons, but they're smart like the Vulcans. It just gets to be an issue. But the thing is, they have eventually the Borg on their back and are flanked on that side about them. So as long as I just don't get violent with the Romulans, I can wait until the Borg can get close enough to them that I become the lesser of two evils and they want to make friendly with me, and then I can get them to join the Federation and then present a united front against the Borg. Hopefully, at least that's my plan. I could also get completely wiped out by all sorts of people before that ever happens. I'm going to go ahead and bump up the speed a little bit. This is showing that's currently researching, which is right around there. Let's bump our speed up a little bit. What I should have done was just go ahead and finish surveying the system and then done that, but it's fine either way. I'm going to research our colony ships so that after we do get a couple systems surveyed, I can send out a colony ship and get it going. Wants to accelerate the project, but we don't have the money for that. says here, it has been a long road. 2 years after the successful test flight of the NX Zeta, Earth is celebrating laying the keel for the very first Warp 5 vessel, Starfleet's first true flagship, the NX Light Cruiser class Enterprise. But while technology has progressed at the breakneck speed, realizing the dreams of scientists such as Archer, Tulaski, and Cochrane, the Vulcans continue to warn humanity that it is not ready for the perils that face them in deep space. Their political pressure can be felt throughout the industrial sector on Earth. The project resources are quickly dwindling, and many employees of the Warp 5 complex have been reassigned to different projects. While the Enterprise hull floats proudly in space dock, in truth it is but an empty shell. Analysts and military strategists are forced to admit they cannot estimate when this ambitious project will be completed. The success of the project is vital. The Enterprise is more than a testbed for the latest experimental propulsion and weapon technologies, but a symbol of the hopes and dreams of humanity. Yeah, and I don't have enough minerals for that right away. Can I unpause it? I wonder how long it'll take me to get up to enough. Let's see here. USS Franklin sensors have locked onto a vessel. It is loaded to capacity with minerals and appears dead. Automated check symbol loops every 78 seconds. The captain orders a command, introduces himself. I think I remember this. Yeah, the snare, it's a trick. They're gonna try and like make off with it somewhere. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, but it's a bit of a trick here. Okay. Well, either way, I would attempt to assist them anyways. And I'm just going to keep letting that go until I have enough minerals. Can I move this? Yeah. Right, I'm just going to tuck this away over here. Adapting field set in place by the Packle vessel transmission demanding the return of the repair crew. The Packle vessel attempts to attack the Franklin. Oh, and they attempt to attack us and explode. Oh, well, I guess that's not exactly the best way there. Now you can get back to scanning that place. The next episode that I'm going to be doing is going to be of Star Trek Online, and I know, well, maybe I'll do Star Wars instead, just so I'm not doing 2 Star Trek streams back to back. I'll do Star Wars The Old Republic Online, and I'll start a brand new character and play the entire game beginning to end, which some of it I haven't even played yet, so there'll be some bits that are new for me as well. That'll be the next episode that I do, and then I'll go back and forth between those two, and then start taking requests. If there's any other games, I'll probably play Skyrim at some point as well. Let's see, the Habitable Worlds Survey. We now know without a doubt that a thriving biosphere is not something unique to Earth. Both the scientific community and the public at large are eager to learn about the various forms of alien life found throughout the galaxy. Efforts to catalog the life forms we encounter are already underway, but our xenobiologists have urged us to focus our planetary survey efforts on habitable life-bearing worlds. So I can either go with a commendable initiative, or we have more important things to focus on. No, we're going to go ahead and focus on that as well. We are scientists in a peacekeeping armada, not a attack fleet. Hardened force fields are done. We have a couple different things to look at whenever we're going through researches here and taking our picks. You'll always have 3 to choose from, and then as you get to higher technology levels, you'll have 4 and 5 to choose from. One thing to keep in mind is anytime you show these little icons over here, that means it's a component that is installed on a military ship. These mean it's a component on a civilian ship if they're over here. Like this is for the science vessels. This gives us and shows exactly what it does. So when you have the engineering section, which is the yellow one, it gives you the +1 to regen for basically your armor, hull, and shields. Science gives you evasion and a little bit of armor, and then the phase inverter gives you a little bit of tactical, so we are going to go with that. This is about how long it takes you. It shows each one will take about 27 months and how much it costs. So we're going to go ahead and go with the gravity manipulation. The other thing I meant to point out while we were there, can I bring it back up? Yeah, okay. Is this right here where there's the little blueprints and the lock, means that by selecting one of these, it continues along a research path that then unlocks more technologies. We're going to go with the same one, but that's just the one I wanted to check out there. Let's go ahead and unpause this. I'm just waiting for this to get up to 500 so I can accelerate the NX project. Despite the fact that the Vulcans don't want me to. But I don't listen to them anyways. Go ahead and pause that again. I pause it every time one of the researches come up so that I'm not losing research time while I'm comparing them. And this is again the same thing. This one unlocks different ones, but this one unlocks engineering stations on the different ships. This polarized hull plating. That's a precursor to shields. I hate those things. Yeah, see, shield pad. So I have to do this so I can get shields. So I'm going to go ahead and go this route first. Polarize the hull. It had to be in this, didn't it? Alright, we'll go ahead and unpause that. Just letting that go ahead and continue along its way there. 442. We're almost to 500. I'll be able to accelerate it here in a moment. Alpha Fleet's ready to get upgraded, so why don't you go ahead and go take care of that. This is showing the constructions done there, and that's what it was. What do we have here? Okay, so this is another anomaly like the one that we looked at a little while ago, but as you see here it shows challenging for difficulty, meaning that our captain isn't a high enough rank yet for it to be something that they'll be able to do well. So you can either try it anyways, or what I like to do is just go ahead and leave B for now because there was no time rating on it, and then we'll come back to it whenever she's a little bit higher rank and has a better chance of successfully completing it. Basically, when our scientists are more qualified, we'll take a look at it. Now I'm going to go ahead and just continue letting that run, because we're almost here. One more month, and then we'll be past the 500, and I'll be able to accelerate the Enterprise. Somebody wants a migration treaty. The Tellarites. We've gotten friendly enough with them. They want that. Let's take a look and see how we're doing with the Vulcans. They want the defensive pack. So now if we get into a fight with anybody, then they're also getting in a fight with the Vulcans, which I will agree with. The Vulcans right now have a superior fleet to us, as you can see right here. Excuse me. They've got 2 planets, around 13 million people. They trust us pretty decently. which is about to jump up because we agreed to go into the non-aggression pact with them. Or the defensive pact, excuse me. See? That's the agreement there. They see, and now the Andorians, we have limited our deployments. See, oh, let's pause that. We can now accelerate the Enterprise. I'm going to see, and they're not happy with us now. Because we were making friends with the Vulcans, and they're not happy with the Vulcans right now, so they don't want to be friendly with us anymore. Let's try this. No research agreements. Let's try a little bit of this. We'll see if we can't get them to be. See, that should be enough just by itself. Let's get them to like 3. Because I want to make sure they accept, and because it's a 30-year trade deal, it'll make sure that they're a little bit friendlier with us. Because I don't want to lose their favor. And basically, I just gave them free stuff. There we go. So, we're not that bad, I promise. I don't want to start nothing with y'all. I'm just... If they get to be 2... See, they still have a 34% favor toward us, so we're not getting bad yet. Oh, let's pause that. They've finished building everything there. Let's see... I'm going to go ahead and build the last mining station. That's the other way to do it. You can do it from here, and it'll just select to do all, which I have there. Okay, see, now I'm going to begin the research, and then in 1 year, the Enterprise will be ready. And I'll get that in XO1. Colony ship is done. Frontier Clinic, Biolab, or we'll go ahead and go with the consoles. 12 out of 26 after the NX-01 is built. I think I'll be close to the top of my naval capacity. That's basically the facilities I am capable of supporting a fleet with. I have to build more stuff if I want a bigger fleet. Looks like the Andorians are working on Wolf 359. Sweet, right, that's done. So as soon as you're done with that, you come over here and build my starbase. That'll get us closer to them and hopefully a little bit more friendly. Let's give you a general idea of how surveying works. Anybody wants to take a look at that, you can go right ahead. I'm also... Our Prime Minister has ranked up a little bit, which is always good. Just keeps him going along the way that he's supposed to. Let's drift it off a little bit, didn't I? Let's see, Tellarites, are you guys? How are you over there? We're still too far away for that. 157. How much is a new science ship? 201. So I can build one of those soon. But you know what I need to do first? Go ahead and can I build one of these? Yes, I'm going to put an energy weapon array on that space station, just in case somebody shows up that wants to start a fight. I'll have a little bit of defenses going on. Oh. The Andorians have expanded their space up here a good little bit. You come build this in now. I don't want to lose Wolf 359. No, I mean, it's not really losing it to them because we'll end up on the same team anyway, so it doesn't matter. And that'll just get them closer to us. You actually just go ahead and come over here. Get me closer to the Tellarites so I can make friends with them too. It's done. Let's go ahead and pause it. Let's take a look. Phase cap and phase cannon. English, my man. Optical computer, physics lab, or phase cannon. Each one takes the same amount and the same amount of points to research, and they all unlock. So basically, all of these are going to be the next things to be researched. So it's really just what you want first, and I'm going to go with the phase cannons for defensive purposes, just in case somebody shows up that wants to start a fight. two of them. Oh, and the Enterprise, ladies and gentlemen. There she is. The NX-01 Enterprise. Not a bad little ship. Not a bad little ship at all. Alright, let's figure out who the captain of the Enterprise is going to be. He's going to be our first admiral, so the first person to go ahead and put down a comment in our chat for this video, either while we're live or on YouTube once it's posted, can go ahead and change the name of the admiral or any of the ships in Alpha Fleet or our Prime Minister. Let's see. Now, whenever you're looking at these are their traits. This tells you what exactly they're good at. This gives you better evasion, so it makes the ships in the fleet a little bit harder to hit, and it makes them a little faster, so that may be where I'm going for. Gale speed. That's a Galewood reference, that's funny. Ship upkeep, so this one's a better bookkeeper, so he makes them cost a little bit less to run every month, also worth noting. And then this one's another one of those, so it's probably going to be between these two here, because at the present moment my fleet's not big enough for this really to be relevant, and so it's going to come down to between Admiral Carla Conti or Admiral Sofia de la Cruz, and because we've got two equivalent admirals, next is going to be age, and only in the sense that because this one's younger, I'm going to go with her, just so that I keep this admiral for just that much longer. Because right now it's definitely about quality over quantity. And so I selected her, now it shows her as an available admiral for the fleet when I selected that, so now she is the captain of the Enterprise and the overall commander of the fleet. Enterprise, I'm going to go ahead and set home base to ship out Starbase 1. That's not what that's called. Let's fix that real quick too. No one gets to change the name of this because it needs to be 001. That's what it's called. Code for Jupiter? Oh no, it's Jupiter, it's the moon, okay. No, Jupiter's moons is what they were talking about. Right, let's unpause that. Enterprise, go sit in orbit. Whenever you put a ship in orbit, that research is completed, so this is now ready for another upgrade, which we will take. Oh, yeah, power is completing. Alright, so we have 3 here, engineering lab, this power plant, or our starbase capacity and upkeep. Not worried about that right now because I can have 3 at the moment, and I haven't even built a new one yet. And I usually only put actual starbases in shipyards above planets that are inhabited. Otherwise, I just leave it as an outpost. And just for the record, ladies and gentlemen, we've got about 30 minutes left before I'll be calling the stream an end today. Hello, Mr. Stivers. I do see that you are our first comment today, so you have pick if you would like. You can either rename our admiral, rename a ship in Alpha Fleet, or you can have the name of our Prime Minister. I forgot to pick one. We're going with the engineering lab because that was the one that unlocked one of them. So if you want to throw that into chat, I'll go ahead and make the adjustment. Got our Prime Minister here, Winona Austin, which I can change. Going down here to our leaders, I can select the Governor of Earth, and I can change her name for you, or I can change the Admiral, or any of our scientists, or the Captain of our science ship. Or if you'd like, the name of any of the ships within Alpha Fleet. No worries, no worries. If you want to jump in and watch the full stream later, you are more than welcome. Just happy to have you. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and unpause this and let it continue. Let's see. As you can see, the Earth has just a tiny bit of space, but I'm in the process of surveying our Sirius system here. So I'll be expanding in that direction toward our Vulcan friends here and our Andorian trying to be better friends there. Okay, let's see, the monastery on Pajam. The Vulcan holy world of the gem appears to many on Earth to be a paradox. The Vulcan people claim to be innately logical, eschewing superstitions. However, at the heart of their culture are a number of rituals and beliefs that are distinctly religious in nature. By dispatching a cultural mission to the holy world of the gem, we may be able to understand our neighbors better. We definitely don't have other priorities. I think right now getting better contact, Palpatine, or Palpatine, that's as well as that would go. Alright, we'll go with Prime Minister Nikolai Falcon. That coincidentally makes sense. In our research options here, we've got the Veteran Array, Vatreon Array on Mars, which is what we use to terraform it into an M-class planet. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. That'll get that working, and then let's get back over here to our leaders. There. Go over. Well, it can be Miss Falcon, the governor. Oh wait, no. Do I go here? There we go. Nathan Samuels. Go with NIC Nikolai Falcon. Okay, so right now the Prime Minister of Earth is one Nikolai Falcon. I did spell that right. NICOLAE. Yes, okay. Nikolai Falcon. Prime Minister Nikolai Falcon. Scare someone just a little bit, wouldn't it? Alright, unpause that and get it moving again. So right now, Nikolai Falcon is the one that's making contact with the Vulcans. Alright, and the NX project has finished that initial bit. The Enterprise was originally designed to be the flagship of Starfleet, but until recently has served in a more frontline capacity. Starfleet Command decided that is going to change. The fleet maneuvers exercise will involve dozens of Starfleet and civilian ships, as well as friendly delegations from nearby empires. The Enterprise will take part in several simulations of likely scenarios, from tracking down pirates using grid search to aiding freighters under attack. The training exercise is truly a crowning moment for the NX project. The goal is not only to improve Starfleet readiness, but to allow the knowledge that the Enterprise crew has gathered through real usage to be disseminated through the fleet. The Enterprise was a test bed of many prototype technologies that have proved themselves ready for wider use. Make it so. I do believe that gets me ready for the refit. The Colander Scrolls. Rogue elements within the Andorian Empire military structure have taken it upon themselves to strike at Teller Prime to force the return of the Colander Scrolls. While the Andorian Chancellor has condemned the attacks, many on Teller Prime refuse to separate the actions of the rebels from the government. So basically, some rebels within the Andorians have, let's pause that because they've got some stuff to do there, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. But the Andorians, basically some rebels there, are picking fights with the Tellarites because the Tellarites have some ancient artifacts that belong to the Andorians and they want them back, is basically what just happened there. Nicolette would have worked, but that was actually, our Prime Minister here is male, the Governor on Earth is female. We can leave Nicolai there. And then we've got our Governor, our Admiral, and then some of our scientists that are still unnamed and can very easily have their name changed if we get anyone else in chat. Okay, and our traditions available, we'll go over that in just a moment. We've just expanded our space here to where we're now bordering the Vulcans, which should make them, they're a lot friendlier to us now. We have an option to invite them to a coalition, which will make the first step toward forming the Federation. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's probably going to make the Andorians a little irritated, but we can deal with them here in a minute. So I went ahead and sent the invite to them. No, and the Orions. Orion Free States now. You can see here, they're slaving despots, because they're words I'm not going to get into specifically, but I don't like them. So we're going to go with we greet you as equals, because again, we're pacifists. We don't just pick fights with people for no reason. Even though we should. Oh. That opened up some stuff here though, because we're in a coalition. We got everything that the Vulcans had already researched, which is them. And they're awfully close to the Orions. Leave that pause for a moment. Are they just that much more mad? No, so they're still okay with us, even if we are in a coalition. They need to stop rivaling each other. This just means we can use basically different embargoes or casus belli against the Vulcans because we border them, but we don't need to because we're friends. And this is just saying they accepted that Saganai and no way, that's the name we're going with. And for this, for now, we'll call this the Federated Alliance. For the time being, that's just what it'll be known as until we actually form a federation. How are you guys doing? They want association status with our coalition, which I'm more than happy to give them. We're going to vote on that after we've made the offer. And then traditions available. Which one is it here that I want? Frontier, yeah. Each one of these takes you down a different, basically, directive path for the entirety of your civilization. You can choose many as you continue to go, so you'll end up with a bunch of them. But each one does different things. Whenever you do the first unlock, it gives you that additional one, the adoption effect, which it shows here, like for the preservation. What this one done was made my colony speed faster and cheaper for building colonies, and right now that's important, so that's why I took that one first. The construction ship, I will send it over here to build this once the Franklin gets over there, but for the moment I'm going to have it build the mining stations in there, just so that I get my minerals flowing on a regular basis. I would move toward the Andorians first, but because I was already in a pact with the Vulcans, they decided they didn't want to be as close friends quickly, so, but I can bring them back in pretty quick. There's the storyline as it continues between them will naturally bring them back together. And no worries. You don't have to watch the whole thing in its entirety anyways, just give me any tips that you might have. The next episode will be the Star Wars Online, which will just be about one character moving through. Alright, and the Tellarites accepted the Coalition Association status, and then here in about another, when I get closer then we should be able to add them to it. All my scientists just leveled up a little bit. I don't have anybody else yet, right? No, not yet. Okay. Keep that going. Let's see. 68, and then I can upgrade their capital, which will make them a little bit happier. The people on Mars aren't very happy because it's a crappy place to live right now, but once I get the terraforming taken care of, they'll be happier about it. Almost there. One more month and then I'll be able to upgrade that. And that's what this little arrow right here is. There's those scrolls are still there. There's nothing I can do about that. I don't have a way of like asking them to give them over. I just have to basically watch and hope that they eventually give it up. There we go, I can upgrade that. The NX progress is stalling yet again, and this time it is not due to Vulcan political pressure. The introduction of the modern technologies implemented for the first time in the NX-like cruiser class throughout the rest of the fleet has proven difficult. A test run of the new experimental ship Atlantis proved disastrous. The new warp engine subspace bubble collapsed. In the proximity of the gravity well of Jupiter, the ship sunk to the depths of the gas giant, with all souls lost. Oh, that's not good. The Starfleet Corps of Engineers have been having a hard time replicating the ad hoc and jury-rigged changes that the Enterprise crew did to the ship to get the new thrusters working, as well as the new patchwork navigation software for the Deutronic computers. It is hoping to send a team of researchers, students, and officers from across Starfleet to study the Enterprise's operation in field conditions. This, however, could prove to be a very complex project indeed and disrupt all ship work. Send a team. Try and see if we can figure out how to build more of those. Construction ship is done now. Well, let's add it. Go and build. Well, let's take a look and see if a research project they're a high enough level to be able to handle yet. Is it still challenging? So no. So we'll go ahead at this point and have you just build that research stations then. I've got about 15 minutes and then that'll be done. The Patreon array is done. Let's see, Biolab, Diplomacy, or Slavery, or the Global Defense Initiative. I don't think anybody's going to be attacking Earth itself right away. Got a couple of ships there. 12 out of 20. I need to build. I can build another frigate. I'm going to do that. We'll go with the ideological path so we can start turning people away from slavery. What's this? Ah. There's point exercise. Didn't know I needed to do that. Oh. Vulcan. Is it the Vulcan hull? Okay. I need to actually send a ship to do that. Well, then as soon as you're done there, come down to Pajam and go ahead and research that. How much was 224? I have enough to build another one, so I'm going to be sending the Franklin there. I will build another science ship to keep my surveying going on, and then once it's done, I'll have 2 out there surveying. So far we've made pretty good friends with the Vulcans. We're doing pretty good with the Tellarites as well. The Andorians are kind of pissy about it just because they're mad at the Vulcans, but we're basically trying to act as the buffer to get them to calm down toward each other. And I'm trying to build a little bit closer to the Tellarites so that we can make friends with them too. Still trying to get some of these other buildings built so everybody's not out here on their own. I'll get her a lab to work in here in a minute. But right now, she's a scientist and enjoying field work. That's totally what's going on. Oh, just wait a second. Here, I'm building the Patreon array as soon as it's done. I just need, as soon as I get some more credits, I will build the array for you to work on, and then you guys can begin your terraforming, okay? That'll be the next thing I do as soon as I get enough minerals. The Orions going out of their mind down here. And seen as Mr. Falcon, oh, let's unpause this, I've just been sitting here wasting time. Seen as that Mr. Falcon has named that, what we're going to do is put in an ancestor of the Owen clan. On the Enterprise. Alright, so couple of different things got done here. Let's get our research continued. Our phase cannons are done, yep, so we can upgrade the fleet again. Warp engine, the escape pods there. They're still up 265. Let's go ahead. Path of discovery, that keeps working there. News that the Vulcan High Command was using its holy sites to hide covert listening posts has spread rapidly after a strike team of Andorian elite forces struck a jam on a facility beneath the Vulcan monastery. The Vulcan High Command's reputation for exploding has suffered while sympathy of the Andorian Empire is ground. That doesn't exactly help me out there, thanks. Oh, did I not get there in time to intervene in that? No. I was sending that ship, but they were on the other side of space. Franklin was there. I ran out of time. Okay. The United Earth Embassy on Vulcan has been the target of a successful terrorist attack. Several hundred human and Vulcan casualties have been reported. Domestic violence is almost unheard of on Vulcan, and no group has yet claimed responsibility. However, many in the Vulcan Bashar intelligence service believe the bombing to be the work of the Serenite movement, a group dissatisfied with the Soviet administration's foreign policy. No, we're going to investigate as well because they killed humans. Let's see here. Let's go with the warp engine and shuttle pods. Yeah, because that's a type of fighter, basically. The Clark is ready. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new captain for another science vessel. Get some boost to research speed there, so I'm going to check here and see what they have. Research leader and survey speed. Oh no, they're already on the Franklin. They all have research speed by 10 and 15%. Do we have one with a higher percentage? 15 and 15. So what we'll do is we'll switch you with a 10%. No, 15, 10. You're going to go take over the USS Clark, and then you're going to be the one that did the 15% bump. There we go. Now, Franklin's now doing nothing because that's, oh no, it just finished. Alright, well then, let's see. Unmanned Star, or Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri needs to be researched by the humans. This will go, I'll just go in opposite directions and start filling space. You can go down there. I'm going to need another construction ship. Come build an outpost there. Nope, I just spent money that was meant to go. I'll wait for that to get done in a moment. How much is that going to cost? 15, that's not bad. But if I had seen your suggestion, Mr. Stivers, to align with the Andorians first, I would have done so. I do like them better. The Vulcan High Commander has refused the United Earth's formal request to investigate the embassy bombing on Vulcan, assuring Prime Minister Nikolai Falcon that Vulcan authorities are better placed to uncover the truth of the attack. Many on Earth are angered by the snub. Understood. Well, they're just being jerk faces in general, aren't they? They keep it up, and I am going to kick them out of the coalition, or leave the coalition and join with the Andorians. But I know that the Vulcans and the Andorians have to be friends to form the Federation, so I will just get them to stop acting like children. The Vulcan High Command has publicly blamed the minority Serenite group for the bombing of the United Earth Embassy on Vulcan, promising to increase security and prevent further incidents. Prime Minister Nikolai Falcon accepts the results of the investigation. Understood. That doesn't sound right. I don't believe them. Is there anything else I can do about that? Alright, that's up to kind of point. First things first. Victory on array. That'll allow me to start terraforming Mars. Definitely need that. Had about 8 minutes. The Vulcan High Command has walked itself back from the brink of civil war by lessening restrictions on its Serenite minority. Understood. Admiral has upgraded. Even before we could travel the stars, we looked at our nearest planetary neighbor and wondered what life existed there. Hundreds of years later, we will find out Mars once had moving rivers and seas, even a basic ecosystem, only to lose it to an ever-depleting atmosphere. Now is our chance to restore Mars to its former glory. Even as we look to other solar systems and their wealth of I can't pronounce that right now. The Mars Initiative seeks to terraform the Red Planet. The head of the project, engineer Paul Boone, says that with the help of the Vulcan array, it will be possible to nudge comets and asteroids out of their orbit and force them to crash into the polarized cap of Mars. This will release carbon monoxide and water vapor into the atmosphere and eventually bring life back to the barren planet. The project lead estimates the project could take at least 8 years and potentially a great deal more. Remember, the Vulcan array must be manned by a population. Yeah, you have to have somebody there at all times to work it. Go ahead and get that started, Mr. Boone. Got another anomaly. Where's this at? The trade is there what we're going to research. Leave B for now after it's done. Oops. No, it's not. Just start it there. Survey system, and then after you're done surveying the system, research the anomalies. Diplomacy or slavery. Oh. See, and here's a rare research. Anytime it's glowing like this, you want to do it because it's going to be the most important one of any of the ones selected. Just life support system. Supplying logistics required for vessels over vessel research and underspace require a radical new look on civilian and military vessels. Yep, and that's required to get into any of the next steps of things. Alright, with it being 10:55, it's about a 5-minute window from when I need to be done. We're going to go ahead and call this the pause point, and I am going to save the game here, and then on our next episode of Star Trek New Horizons, we'll go ahead and continue and see if the United Earth can go ahead and ease relations with the Andorians and the Vulcans and bring the Andorians into the coalition. We should be able to, after we expand to the Shrew system and get a little bit closer to the Tellarites, get them to join, and then maybe with a larger coalition it'll be more appealing to the Andorians. With that, I want to thank everybody, my brother Kyle for coming into the stream while I was live, and then anybody else who watches, if you would, just either like or leave a comment in the comment section of the video once it's up on YouTube. Thank you again, and y'all have a great rest of your night.